If you have a dream, it's a creative process. I simply describe it as your future vision, fueled by purpose and fulfilled by mission. It's a kind of a circular thing. Everybody's starting point is a little bit different, but it really is the dream that you have, this idea. Sometimes it's the big things that you can distill down into the simplest way that really helps you understand what you need to do and how you need to work and go forward. Whatever it is, when you make a legacy as a focus, it will change your trajectory. It's kind of like a GPS, and it changes how you operate in life. You don't look short-term, you look long-term. The three wisdoms that I talk about in the legacy model is live smart, give smart, and leave your mark. It's not the give smart, which is also the accumulation of resources and assets and money, but also what are you doing with it? Where are you giving?
The hero's journey. And you know what, Sherry? Who wrote the hero's journey?
Joseph Campbell.
Joseph Campbell, thank you, Joseph Campbell. So how do you compare the hero's journey with the Odyssey?
That's, people have asked me that. And so Joseph Campbell, when he described the hero's journey in his book, it really is a combination of many stories and mythologies and legends from all over the globe. And there's a theme there. It's the hero goes out, typically a younger person goes out, and they're on their own voyage of self-discovery. It's all about them. It's me. It's self-focused. And they come back and then they go to their sage or their Yoda and they tell them all that they've discovered. It's a self-focused experience. The Odyssey, it's not the hero's Odyssey, it's just the Odyssey, because it's not self-focused. The person who is in the Odyssey is doing it for the greater good. They're doing it to be in service of others. Yes, they may be learning and growing as a person as well, but it's really something that is when they're doing their big work in the world. And like I believe the work that you're doing is an Odyssey, because you're bringing many people along through the Freedom Founders so that they can create their own freedom, free for life in how they show up in the world. And there's a ripple effect with the Odyssey. And there's a ripple effect when you're doing something and you don't even know the number of people that you're positively impacting when you're on the Odyssey. It works on its own. It has its own energy.
Yeah, no, I love that comparison. In the second part of the book, the liberation part, you brought out a new word, anavim. Can you tell us more about that?
Okay, well, I know that you wrote a book, What's Your Next? Mm-hmm. And this is really what's your next for somebody who wants to create something. And if you have a dream, it's a creative process. And I simply describe it as your future vision, fueled by purpose and fulfilled by mission. And it's a kind of a circular thing. There is a starting point, but you don't have to, everybody's starting point is a little bit different, but it really is the dream that you have, this idea. And the reason it's anavim instead of anavim, it's because I want it to dream with the word dream. From dream to anavim, you start with this dream and you use this creative process, anavim, to help manifest and materialize it. And in fact, I have a gift for all the listeners, which is the whole experience in pictures, and so that they can follow through. It's very simple. And sometimes it's the big things that you can distill down into the simplest way that really helps you understand what you need to do and how you need to work and go forward.
That's beautiful. In the book, you mentioned the James Bond movie and the song No Time to Die, which won the Best Original Song at the 2022 Oscars. How's this tie into what you're doing now?
Well, I know that and I know that time's never on your side and tomorrow's promised to no one. And often it's a tragedy that makes us make a change in our life. I know you had a situation with your daughter. In my personal life, multiple things have happened. Kevin's death was a wake-up call for a lot of people. And you think life is good, sky's the limit, but nobody thinks I'm going to die. I'm not going to die today. Nobody thinks the doctor's going to go, oh, here's your diagnosis, and it's something horrible. You see, when you have a plan B, and I know that you're all about the plan B, then you have a little bit of a buffer in your life. But when you have a tragedy, like the situation with Kevin, that prompted me to go into a new direction, it makes you really look at what is important in life. How do you want to live now, and how do you want to live into the future? And for me, it's really about legacy. And I think that, when you hit 50, you start thinking about legacy in a different way. It's not the thing that you're doing just down the road. And I like to say that people who embrace legacy, I call them the legacy chiefs. In fact, that's my website, Legacy Chief. And it's somebody who's a chief contributor. These are the ultra contributors in our world. They're the ones who understand about protecting and preserving tradition and value, and they take care of their people. Their people are not secondary. If they have a business and something changes and they have to let people go, they're the first person to say, here's 5 other places that you can look. I'm sorry that they want to take care of their people. In their family, they're always doing things to help their family grow and expand, not to spoon feed them, but to help them have experiences that will help them improve and grow as a person. And it's not just, your business and your family, it's also your community, the greater community. And it could be beyond people. It could, your people could be animals. Your thing could be the environment. It's something that's greater than yourself, because you want to support and improve and serve the greater good. And the legacy chief, they're actually the one that's on the Odyssey. We talked about the Odyssey before, and they're on the Odyssey, and they really are looking at the greater good.
So through your passion and the work you're doing now with Legacy Chief, who are you helping? Who and how are you helping them? And how do you help people become legacy chiefs? Those who get it, who want to do that, those who were inspired to make a change and go a different direction because of disruption in this last several years, as you've had, as many have had. What does this mean? How are you sewing into these people, and what does that look like?
So because for the last 20 years, I've really been working with entrepreneurs and professionals in really working with them with their webinars and their presentations. And that's the people that I know. It really could help more than that, but those are the people who seem to be more strapped for time. And so therefore, they're missing critical pieces of their legacy. Now, with Freedom Founders, you're really helping people so much on the financial side, so they have financial freedom and they're investing in real estate and doing things so that they have that financial buffer. But it's not just that. And I actually use our friend Simon Bowen's model. I have a legacy model, so it breaks that into all the different parts within the legacy model. And when people look at it, first off, they seem to think that it's kind of obvious. And that's why when you make something complex simple, it does seem obvious. But they'll also say that they're not doing it. In fact, 7 out of 10 entrepreneurs fail the legacy test. They're missing the critical pieces that are part of it. So I'm actually just putting together a pilot program for people that want to participate and go through. It's not something that is, we're going to be done in 6 weeks, because legacy takes time, and the busiest people have the least amount of time, but they require focus, and this is deep work. So it is taking place over an 18-month period. And the idea is that you'll go through and you'll work on all these different elements, and you can then go back and revise and improve. It's like life. One of my friends who's a fitness guru says, you can't store fitness. You can't work out for 3 months and go, I'm good for the rest of the year. Right. And that's what's same with the legacy. You have to go back and revisit and revise and improve and work on. But when it's part of your process, just like what you do in Freedom Founders with having people understand what is important to focus on, then you can incorporate it into your life. And I like to think that what I'm doing is very comprehensive, and people have told me, oh, you brought in things that it seems like one specialist would work on this little piece of it, but nobody's mentioning the other elements. And with legacy as a focus in your life, you will actually highlight things where you want to make changes. It could be in your health, it could be in your relationships, it could be in your investing. But whatever it is, when you make legacy as a focus, it will change your trajectory. It's kind of like a GPS, and it changes how you operate in life. You don't look short term, you look long term.
Yeah, to me, it's like, as you said, focus, and looking at legacy. Well, you even said legacy is longevity. So looking at the intentionality of how you are living your legacy every day. As you said, too many people think, well, legacy is at the end of life, or it's just transferring wealth. Well, my goodness, I mean, sure, it could be
One
a piece
part
of that,
of it.
one small part. Often I reference a writing that a palliative care nurse from Australia, you probably know who I'm talking about, Bronnie Ware, The 5 Regrets of the Dying.
Right.
And I often bring that to our Freedom Founders members because, again, I'm trying for myself to future pace what's that going to look like if I do have, an end of life where there's some weeks or months of, I know that this is the end, and I'm thinking back, and Bronnie lays out those 5 regrets. I'm not going to go through them right now. It's not pertinent to our conversation. But what is pertinent is there's nothing about how big was my business or businesses? How many more deals did I do? What was my financial? Nothing there that those men, typically she was having those conversations with at the end of life, talked about, what they created and built. It was always about relationships, living life authentically. That's what it was about. And I think what you're doing with Legacy Chief is helping all of us that are so busy, but we want that in our lives. We don't want to get down the road and wish we had done this or that. Now's the time, and we've just got to build it in, right, Sherry? We've got to start building it in.
You have to build it in.
And you're there to help guide it. And what does that mean? Because it's such a lost capability, something we just don't have, but we think about it and it's, yeah, I'm too busy, I can't do it. So tell me a little bit more about the pilot program. I'm interested. I know there's other people that are going to be listening to this that would have an interest. What does that look like, and how could people kind of apply to see if it's a right fit for them?
Well, legacychief.com is where to go. You'll see our mascot, Arrow the Owl. Click on that link and follow through. But what you were saying about what's important, yes, we want financial freedom. Yes, we want our health. But when you look at it, there's also the soft side of life. And the things that you mentioned in the 5 regrets of the dying, it's what's truly important. It's the soft side. It's the intangibles. It's our relationship. It's love. It's faith. It's happiness. It's the sharing. What are the things that you are remembered for? And not just at your end of life. What did you do last week that somebody's telling a friend? Because this is your legacy is today. We call that your reputation, but it's also your legacy. There's lots of flavors that you have on here. I'm using legacy because I want to look at it in a totality. There's people that say, you just need to work on your reputation, which is the now, but you have to tie that into the future. The other things that you're doing, the things that are important, like we always say relationships. My personal motto, the real currency is relationship riches. Now that currency there's no price on it. The people who are important in your life, the things that you did, what you decided to do when Jenna went in the hospital, that was your priority. Everything else changed. You had a plan B, fortunately, to work on it, but you were able to make the people in your life a priority. And then you turn that into Freedom Founders. And the work that you're doing now is so that other people can have that freedom in their life. Why? Because it ties back down to the real essence of what are we doing here? We want to connect with people. We want to share our lives with people. And I'm not one of these people who believes in cutting people out of their life. Even if somebody is no longer my quote unquote best friend, that doesn't mean, there are people that go, just let go and don't go back. You can always go back. That person is changing as well. There's always opportunities to reconnect, but you really want to find the core things that are in you. The 3 wisdoms that I talk about in the legacy model is live smart, give smart, and leave your mark. And so much in our world, it's not the give smart, which is also the accumulation and of resources and assets and money, but also what are you doing with it? Where are you sharing it? You know, what are you conserving? What are you sharing? Where are you giving? You know, the people like, you know, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. I mean, they had so much money. They have foundations that are helping disperse the money. There's other people who have creative foundations. You don't have to do that, you know, but what is it that you're doing, both for your people who are your close, intimate circles and for the people who you want to impact in a greater way? And it seems like it's a little bit of business development. It's a little bit of personal development. It's a little bit of financial and wealth management. But in the end, it's really about the essence of who you are and how you want to show up in life today, as well as every day. I like to say that, of course, legacy is longevity, but it's beyond you and because of you.
Oh, so well said. I hope people will seriously consider picking up your book, The Cocoon Conundrum. And you mentioned, Sherry, a gift. Do you have a link for that or a place where people could get the gift?
The link, that I think that when you put everything together on the page, there'll be a link there, no opt-in. It actually is the Anhavim creative process in pictures. You can just follow along. It's very simple. And otherwise, you know, if you go to legacychief.com, you'll see it there, but you have to opt in. So either way, you get it. There's no cost. And it's very simple, and people that are very visual appreciate that.
Fantastic. Sherry Rose, it is always a pleasure. I love the time that we've had to spend together in the past, and I love this conversation today. And you're very impactful, and this is going to, the people who engage, you will touch them, and that ripple effect will be there for them. I'm interested. We'll continue this conversation, but thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much, and it's been my pleasure to be part of it.
If you enjoyed watching or learning from this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content. If you have a question about any of my content or this specific video, just please leave a comment down below. And as always, stay focused on your freedom. I'll see you next time.